Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Tonight, we're talking about Married at First Sight, the reunion.
Part 1.
Part one. Wow, what a reunion it was. What a reunion it was. It was definitely a very exciting reunion, and we, to say the least, a lot of things have gone on in this reunion. A lot of things have gone on this season of Married at First Sight. So we want to get started and let's talk about
it. So as per usual, just like with the weddings, we didn't get all the weddings in one setting. So we didn't get all the follow-ups in one setting.
No, we didn't. They wanted to
only 3 of them.
Only 3. They wanted to make sure that you came back. They wanted to make sure they had a part 2. So they got a lot of footage. But I'm glad that part 2 is going to happen. I wish they can run all this in one night. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was worth its while.
Man, it was some bangers. But first we start with Jose and Rachel.
Yeah.
And keep in mind the reunion is taking place 4 months after Decision Day.
Yeah.
4 months after Decision Day. And so then Kevin Frazier just went through the regular stuff, just kind of recapping what had happened or taking place with the couple up to that point, how they felt like the experts matched them perfectly, and even with his laundry list of criteria, she fit the laundry list, and she felt like, she got the looks and the personality that she asked for. And then they rehashed the incident with if your wife was everything you expected, if everything was going so well, why did we have this incident where you went off the handle when she called you Johnny? They talked about that for a minute. Kevin got on him, bro, you was wrong.
Yeah.
You locked your wife out. And Jose is sticking to his guns that it wasn't malicious. I didn't do it on purpose. And Kevin was like, come on now. It was a little bit of get back with that. But Jose did not concede. He said, no, that's not what it was. He's adamant. He's sticking with that.
And Jose know it was get back. Jose understand that what he did was totally wrong. Jose can fool a lot of people, but he can't fool us. He knew no one accidentally locks a deadbolt, right? No one accidentally locks a deadbolt. The deadbolt is locked intentionally. It's not an accidental thing. He knew he locked that girl out. He wanted her to be outside. He wanted to punish her.
Well, the one thing he did say was, okay, so it was on purpose, but he said this, it wasn't malicious, but it was on purpose. And what he said was, he figured that she went somewhere else to stay. She wasn't there. She had to be staying somewhere. But little did he know that none of the other ladies answered the door. Mm-hmm. She couldn't get anybody else on the phone. And of course, we all know from the show she ended up at her ex's house. But his thinking was, she'll be okay. She's out there. So that's what he tried to justify. So it wasn't malicious, but he did lock the door because he said, well, she's gone somewhere. She must got somewhere to stay because she hasn't come back here.
But I mean,
that he knew of, because we do know she came banging on the door in the middle of the night.
Yeah, but if that's your wife, right? I needed to make sure, and you're her protector, as he said he wanted to be, and he's a provider, and he want to make sure she's good. You don't leave her outside unless you know that she's good. You call her, you make a phone call, you make a text message, you do anything that you can to try to get her to find out where she at and what she's doing. So he has to understand that. So, I mean, all the stuff he's kicking now is fine and dandy, but he had an opportunity to think about this stuff. But when he did it, he was intended for it to be a malicious act. He can say what he wants to say and all that other stuff. He intended for her to be punished by him leaving her outside.
He said he was truly apologetic for the way it went down and everything. And Kevin went back and they watched how Jose acted the next day. She said that bothered her too, how he acted the next day. He was like, hey, you need some help packing your bags? You need help with that stuff? I mean, I can help you pack. And, you know, Kevin was like, Jose, you was quite passive aggressive. And Jose was like, you know, I'll acknowledge that it was passive aggressive. And Rachel said, you know, in that moment, she really felt like, you know what, it's over with. Like, I'm not going to do this. And she said it was more so, dag, I got fooled again. It started off good, but now look. So she felt that more than anything. They did talk about that.
I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I think he did hear her banging on the door. And he just laid in the bed, pulled the covers over his head, and closed his ears even more. Because she banged, and she said she banged for a while. And she was wondering, where am I going to sleep? Am I going to slide down here and go to sleep? Or whatever. He heard, he knew what time it was. And he knew she was walking the lady out, or whoever was in there. Jose wanted to be vindictive. And that's the thing. When you're in a relationship, or when you're in a marriage, or you, whatever case may be, you don't be vindictive. And that's what he tried to do. He was being vindictive. He wanted to show her and teach her a lesson.
But the one thing Kevin said, he said, but despite that issue, you know, he loved the way that they worked the issues, you know, worked through their issues and how they could come back together and kind of get it together to the point where they said yes on decision day. But the question on the table then was, okay, so y'all say yes on decision day. Where are we at now?
Oh, here can we go.
And she says, well, Kevin, unfortunately, we broke up.
Yeah.
We broke up.
Well, I'm glad she said broke up and not divorced, right?
Right.
Because she said we broke up, we had to take a split, we had to take some time off, we had to get away. In other words, she moved into Jose's house and realized what all of us were saying. This is not where you want to be at. This is not, he doesn't like to go out. What Johnny talks about a little bit later. She went into his house and realized, I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. We don't have fun.
Well,
because
he doesn't.
He doesn't do anything. They said he became disconnected. They lost the spark. It wasn't there anymore. It's because Jose was boring and commanding and controlling, and she couldn't do what she wanted to do.
Well, more so because he was boring, and what they said was, it got kind of hairy when the cameras left. You know, they got comfortable and complacent instead of keeping up, like, because it is different when you're on the show. The show is providing means and ways for you to do things and kind of interjecting, do this, try this, and the experts are there. So, yeah, when they had to do it on their own, and it's really real life, like we're working day to day, it was like, okay, they started acting like an old married couple. Like, I don't have to do nothing. And they said their emotional connection kind of deteriorated. And Rachel said it wasn't anything specific. It was just an accumulation of things. And my boring life, my boring husband, and also she did touch on the fact that she moved into his house and it didn't really feel like her own, and how he complained about how much stuff she had. Oh, you got a lot of stuff. What you gonna do with all your stuff? And that didn't make her feel comfortable. But more than anything, it was just like they just lost that love and feeling.
but he knew she had a lot of stuff anyway. The thing about too, when we go to the very first episode, or when they met their family, they said, well, wait till you see her car. And she was a pack rat. He knew that when she moved in, even when she moved into the apartment, it was gonna be a lot of stuff. So she transitioned to his house with a lot of stuff. I guess the biggest issue, he didn't have a place for her to put her stuff, and it was all over the place. So she had never put her stuff away or made it feel like home. Because she was living, I'm not saying she lived out of suitcases, but she didn't make it feel like home. And so he was like, you got a lot of stuff, let's make, because he's a neat freak. Put your stuff away, let's make it nice and neat, let's keep it, kosher, keep it cool. And he couldn't handle that, she couldn't handle that. And they said it too. Summer Rachel got involved a little bit.
Just a little bit, not to the extreme that they thought it would, but she said she went back to her mom's house. She decided to leave and went back to her mom's house, and he really thought it was the end. But he said he was going to keep trying, and so that's what they said. They've been working on it. They're trying to work things out right now, and they took a month break, like with nothing. They took a month break from each other, but they're trying to get back to a place where they can get back together. She says they're getting closer to bettering their marriage. Try to work it out. and like you said, she said the sparks weren't there for her anymore, due to the constant bickering they had. But now they've gotten back to actually more so like dating each other, because obviously it's married at first sight. They never had a chance to date each other. So she said we're talking on the phone almost every night,
hours at a
you
time.
know, for hours at a time, and they're spending time together, getting to know each other outside of the experiment. And he said, I want my wife home.
Yeah.
He wants his wife home with all her things, all her stuff.
But you
and they
mentioned
laugh about that.
Jose said it. He wants to be married. He wants to stay married. He wants to be that was his thing. I want to be married once. My parents are divorced. I don't want to be divorced. So whatever it takes, and I guess it was like ice water in his face or a rude awakening. Like, you know what, I need to get myself together, or I need to get this, or I'm gonna lose my wife. And I think even when Johnny talked about when all the guys got together, he started listening to their ideas about, you know, you need to do this, or you need to say this, or you need to do this together to get your wife back. You may want to try this because Rachel likes doing this. And so he started taking the advice of all people, Johnny, and so is building a relationship. He's building that relationship back with his wife, and that's what the ideal thing was wanted to do.
And you mentioned before about Summer Rachel getting she said Summer Rachel, I want to say Summer Ray. Summer Rachel didn't help, but it wasn't as much of an issue, because she said what she did was she kind of went ham on the trips. She did do a lot of vacationing, and what the other thing they talked about the trips was he didn't like that it was misconstrued that he didn't like to do trips. The problem, and that he was cheap about it. What they said is the thing. She said, I make sure I have my trip planned and I get there, and it may be expensive to get there, but while I'm there, I'm not expensive about it. Whereas she said Jose is like gung ho, he go all out. Like, you know, she was like, he want they booked the trip to Mexico, and they go like, he want to stay this expensive place and spend all this money on this and that and the other, and that contributes to him not wanting a trip too, because he don't know how to trip on a budget. And that's probably what he was thinking. She probably does trips like I do, but she doesn't.
But he does trips on what he afford. He like, yo, I'm gonna take a trip. I'm gonna spend $1,000. I think it was $1,400 or $1,000 a night at this hotel.
Right.
I'm gonna stay here.
And she was like, "Wait, what? No, no, we don't gotta do. We don't have to do that."
But why she complaining though? You want the man to take a trip. But why complain about when he takes a trip and he spend his money?
But because I guess, again, she didn't want that to contribute to you not wanting to take trips, you know.
But if he wants to take a trip and take her to Switzerland, and he wants to take her to wherever, to Mexico in this case, and he wants to do it up, be quiet and do it up. I mean, let's be honest. You was complaining about him not wanting to go on trips, so now he's going on a trip and he's spending the money. What you mad for?
Yeah, no, she wasn't mad.
Not mad, but what you like? Enjoy it.
The only other thing with Jose and Rachel is a little piece of information that footage that we didn't see, that they didn't show. That was funny is Rachel trying to explain to her friend what it is that Jose does, and he's a mission flight specialist with NASA. And so she tried to tell her friend, and she was like, he tried to explain, he's explained it to me several times, but I'm not sure I get it. I'm still not sure I get it. And in the end, right there on the stage, she was able to explain sufficiently what it is that Jose does.
After practice. She had much practice to figure out what he does. You know, what does your husband do?
So that was funny. So that was it.
My kids were like that for a while. What's your daddy do? I'm just saying.
But so that was really it with Jose and Rachel. So we know technically they're not together. They're not divorced, but they're working on it.
At the filming of the show.
They're working.
I'm gonna say that.
They were working
at the filming of the 4 months, they were working on it.
Right.
So I'm gonna say
at the reunion.
At the reunion. So we're gonna say, because you don't know now, they will be aware of it now. Coming after reunion part 2, but as of right now, that they're together.
All right. Next, we saw Brett and Ryan. And obviously, without a question, y'all still broken up. Yep, we're still broken up.
Still broken up.
And Ryan says, we have spoken very seldomly since decision day. And I mean, they're friendly. This is no bad blood. We just, just haven't talked to each other.
He said they could still be friends. They could hang out, and if she wanted to, but they're not.
Kevin talked about, you look like y'all started off so good. What happened? And the honeymoon was good. And Ryan just was like, it was like that first week it wasn't real yet. I guess you still on that kind of high, that kind of dream. It's like a dream. Oh my gosh, I got married at first sight. Yeah. So just kind of living that. As we talked about throughout the show, what happened with them, Kevin talked about, they both said, it was just a lack of communication. Ryan said it was a lot of me feeling the way I felt and not telling her because I didn't want to hurt her feelings, which in the end that backfired on him.
I never understood that. I mean, you didn't want to hurt her feelings, but you treated her like, I don't think you treated her bad. You didn't spend time with her. Even though he said when they left to go to his apartment or went to his place, he said they spoke. But some people want that quality time where the person is actually in the room with them. And so when you're not telling her about how you feel, it puts your relationship back like weeks and even days. They should have had, those conversations could have had when they were on a honeymoon. That time you have a week, right? And I think what happens with some of these couples, they don't fully take advantage of the week they have on the honeymoon. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you go back to some of the past episodes of the past seasons, look how Woody and Amani took advantage of the honeymoon. Even when you look at what's the couple other with Woody and Amani, you have
Karen
and Miles. They took advantage of the honeymoon. Miles talked about his mental illness, or he talked about him battling depression and different things like that. He never took it. I think Ryan, excuse me. I told you I would do that. Ryan was checked out from the airport and from the kayak. Mm-hmm. Like, she is childish. She's not adventurous. She doesn't want to do what I need her to do. I don't even like this girl. But I'm going to have to put in these 8 weeks, because, again, I still want this check. I still want to, I don't want to come off on national TV look like a butt. So I'm going to be halfway nice, but I'm going to try, but I'm not going all the way. And never look like he was fully invested in the Brett. Never.
Kevin asked Brett, did you see any growth in him in the process? And she just looked at the camera and blinked. It was like crickets. and Kevin was like, okay, I see your answer.
But it proves my point that from the honeymoon to the end of the 8 weeks, there was no growth. He didn't try to grow anymore. He didn't try. I think the only thing that we saw him really do together was the tantric yoga in the movie.
They talked about, what did you learn in this experience? Excuse me. And Ryan said, I learned that, in the past, I kind of went to the physical a little bit sooner than I probably should have. And so he said, I've learned not to jump to the physical so soon. And I've also had been in a place where I didn't consider the other person's emotions. And in this, it made me think, okay, so basically what he was saying is, I'm glad I didn't get physical with her, because it would have confused it and messed it up even more. Because I would have been worried about trying to satisfy myself and not understanding that with that physical, emotions can be attached to it, and she might get the wrong impression. So that's what he said he learned.
But he might have got that spark if there was more physical. That spark that he needs. So it's just like a battery who's running kind of dead. You got to jumpstart that bad boy. Maybe them getting more physical. I'm not necessarily saying having intercourse, but just getting physical, being together, hanging in, whatever case may be, will cause that spark for them to maneuver. Want to get where he was at?
Yeah. Brett said, what did she learn in this process? She said, going through a relationship that you didn't choose, that somebody chose for you, when there are differences on the surface, she learned I could be more open-minded. And it also, she learned to expand my dating horizons. So look into some people that you might not usually date, and don't get so caught up in, which was Ryan's problem, they're not my type. Try something that's not your type. Because even though that was his whole thing the whole time, she also said that too. Well, he's not my type neither, but I was still willing to try it out.
She was willing to try it
out. And
out.
so that's what she learned, still try it out.
I think that was the key. She was willing to try, and you could see throughout the season as when she was trying, and then you saw it throughout the season when she shut down, where she was like, I don't even care anymore, because he wasn't doing anything. And I think when you get to that last 2 or 3 days of the last week, you already know. And she already had her mind at the retreat. She already know, I don't care what happened at this retreat. I'm going to have fun. And we're not going to... Because even that conversation they had when they was at the table, you could tell that she didn't care. Brett was already checked out. Because Ryan hadn't done anything up to that point. She didn't want to shoot the guns with him. She didn't want to do anything. She just was there. Her and Johnny had both checked out.
Yeah. The other thing that he took away from it is he could be more open and have the hard conversations that he needed to. And speaking of hard conversations, then they brought his sister Alexa on there to have her little say or whatever. Kevin asked, do you think that Brett was the right person for your brother? And she says, we loved Brett and we were hoping that she could be the one, and that this would be an opportunity for him to change his type. And she said, I wish it could have worked. Then they talked about that whole conversation that Alexa had with Brett about, I think my brother's distracted and that's why he's acting like this. And Ryan felt a little type of way, that she would say that. But he did say, I could have been more open with because he said I didn't really talk to my sister too much about it neither. So she had to say what she said based on what she knew from living with me and having seen me in relationships before. Because
he was so close guarded, he kept everything to his chest, and he wasn't talking to anybody except for Johnny. No one knew. So when you don't tell people, they have to make assumptions. They have to assume. Okay, this is what's going on. And she assumed that he was somebody. It was somebody else that he was distracted because somebody else had his attention.
Yeah. The one thing we found out is that after she had the conversation with Brett, she did text Ryan to let him know that they had the conversation. And overall, Kevin asked, did she regret it? She said, I do regret it because I kind of put something out there that wasn't necessarily going on. Then Kevin asked, how do you feel towards Brett? Have your feelings toward Brett changed? And she said she felt for Brett, but now her feelings for Brett have changed a little bit. But that's because ding ding ding, she said she found out that Brett was seeing someone while she was in the Married at First Sight process. But talking to Alexa about what her brother wasn't doing right.
Yeah, but there's a lot of conflicting views on this. And Brett says she got the guy's number.
They exchanged numbers.
They exchanged numbers, but nothing happened until her and Ryan was totally done. Now, don't give a pinpoint a time frame when she got the number. Maybe she got the number after she found out old boy was going on date naps. I don't know. Maybe she got the number because there's some rumors out there that she got the number when she was staying out till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. All right, who she was staying out with. Well, and I'm not saying it's right or it's justified, but if you're not taking care of home, somebody else is. And so she felt like, I'm not getting it here. We're going to be divorced in 8 weeks anyway. I'm not saying she's right, but that's what she went to do. I'm not saying, hey, it doesn't make it right. But she should, as being a married woman, she shouldn't have got the dude's number anyway.
Right. And what Brett said was, though, she said she did meet someone, but she didn't pursue anything until after this was done. And now she said this guy, whatever she had with this guy, that's done too, is what she said.
It didn't work out. So, I mean, that relationship didn't work either. Now, Brett is not an ugly woman, by no means. She's a nice looking lady. But I guess her relationships, she's not good in relationships. or the relationship's not good to her, whichever way you want to look at it.
I don't know. But Ryan says it is what it is. He wished that it was something they could have talked about.
How can it be something you want to talk about when you don't talk?
Mm-hmm.
When you don't open up, you don't share. How can it be something that we can talk about when you're sitting there looking like... He even does it on the show when no one even talking to him. If you look at him, he said they're like...
Yeah, he definitely did that when the guys were on there. I was like, he just looks so plain.
Like he's miserable and doesn't want to be there. So, again, how can someone have a conversation with you when you don't want to converse with the other person?
Yeah. Because Ryan was like, whether it was being actively pursued or not, you know, he knows that it carried on past decision day. And it was a lot of talk that Brett was like, well, we talking about facts versus rumors. And it's the fact is that she met someone and she's changed numbers before decision day. But did they actively stay in touch? She said no, it was just here and there. And it wasn't a distraction. And the question was, does Ryan, do you believe her? And he was like, you know, I literally saw conversations. I saw conversations, and it was more to it than a friendship being developed.
How about this? I think he covered for it. He should have said that's probably what made him
called out.
Probably what made him go to the dating app. I'm not trying to be funny. If he knew that she was talking to someone else and that she was having side relationships or side conversations with this other guy, it's probably what pushed him to the dating app. So if that is true, so why is she mad?
Right.
What if that's but yet again, even when they was having that conversation at the table, he didn't out her. He could have easily said, I'm on a dating app, you talking to Joe Smo. But he didn't. So I mean, hats off to him, but I would have addressed that issue. You gonna call me out and I know you talking to so and so, you act like you're not trying to be a wife. Why are we not? He could have went that way.
Yeah.
But I think he kind of covered her a little bit, not to put her business out there like that.
He did. But you know, he said it wasn't fun for him to hear it, and it was validated from other sources. And she kind of smirked like, what sources? But anyway, Alexa said her take on it was a full-blown relationship. Which, again, mind you, this reunion is 4 months after decision day. I laughed at the fact that she said it was a full-blown relationship. What kind of full-blown relationship are you going to have in 4 months?
But you know what? Let's not give Brett a pass because...
I'm not giving her no pass.
If it was Brett... Or if it was a guy who did that...
You mean Ryan?
I mean, no. I mean, Brian. Sorry. If it was Matt. When Matt did it in the season, Charlotte season, right? Everybody was on an uproar. Like, how could you do that? You still dating Amber, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying thing as Brett. If Brett got somebody's number while she was still married, she wrong. And to complain about the app, like, just hold your pictures to your heart. Well, I think it's rude. You matched with my friend. Was it the app or was the fact that he matched with her friend?
Well, it wasn't her friend. It was somebody she knew.
Someone she knew.
Like I said before, I'm not saying Brett is right at all by saying, because if she exchanged numbers with somebody before decision day, she didn't have a right to get on Ryan about being on a dating app before decision day. But the other thing is what she was trying to drive, and again, I'm not saying it was right, but her thing is, you said, I guess she was like, I never said I was trying to work on it no more. It was over to me. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying it's right to exchange the numbers, but I think that was her mindset. It was like, I wasn't trying to work on nothing, but you came to me and tried to tell me I'm gonna keep trying. And so how you keep trying if you on a dating app? That was her issue more than anything. But she should have said is, oh, you on a dating app? Wow, okay. You said you was going to keep trying. I mean, I did get somebody's number, but I got somebody's number when I felt like there was no hope.
My thing is clarify.
Right.
If you're going to end it, both of you guys are going to end it and y'all going to do your own thing, even though you're married, clarify it. Make the terms out. You know what? I'm on a dating app. I got somebody else's number last week. If you know it's over, right? And so let's not... I'm already moving on, even though before we get the decision date. Are you moving on? Yep, I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Yep, we moving on. Let's go.
the last few things with them, you know, Ryan didn't think it had an effect on them. It was tough after, you know, finding out about this, after we just went through the thing with the dating app, and it was, you know, it wasn't fair for her to get on him, and then you doing what you doing. But I mean, that's really it with them, you know.
Tit for tat's never good. Tit for tat.
His thing is they never really emotionally connected. And so they don't have no beef between each other. There's no animosity, no hard feelings, because their emotions wasn't in it. And she went back again and said, you know, I didn't think Ryan was ready for marriage. She said, I was ready. I've been ready for marriage for several years. And she said, I've been ready, am ready, gonna be ready. What you trying to say?
Yeah.
And she just said if Ryan had been more invested, the question was, if Ryan had been more invested, could it have worked? And she said, I don't know. Her gut says no. And he agrees. It probably wouldn't have worked because we have such big differences. So that's really it with them.
Yeah. I mean, he was never going to get invested anyway. Because she wasn't blonde and she didn't look like one of the party girls. So.
Okay. So the bombshell of the night. I don't even want to, because they didn't finish it. I don't know how you feel. I almost don't even want to get into what they did show us with Michaela and Zach. I'd rather finish that when they finish it.
Let's talk
next time.
I want to talk a little bit about it, because Michaela said some. She dropped some nuggets per se, even after, because all that she did on decision day by saying yes and all the stuff that Zach was talking. She still went with it. If you think about it, right? He was like, "Let's divorce, but let's date and do what we do," right? So she went and she spent 7 or 8 days at Zach's house
at his request.
At his request, and she said he lives in a nice private little building, and I got to get a keypad to get in, and so I wasn't there uninvited. I was there invited. I was his guest. We spent 7 or 8 days there. I cooked. We cleaned. We sexed, you know, we did what we did. Again, you still legally married. Even, this is what people got to understand. Regardless of what they say on decision day, they're still married until they sign those papers. I just want to see a couple, what would be cool if a couple said no on decision day, then when they come back 4 months, we say yes.
Right.
We gotten back together.
Right.
So, but what she, you know, she said they, after their 7 or 8 day escapade, you want to call it, he started acting some type of way. That he felt like, I'm sorry, I'm going to break this off, let's just be friends, and let's do this. Which contributed to why she did not want him on the same stage with her during the reunion. Crazy. She
was adamant she did not want him out there, and Zach is in the back having a fit because he says, "Oh, I see, I get it. You don't want me out there because that way I can't dispute the crap that you spewing."
Yo, the way she had it, the way she pinned him, or the way that she made him look, was that all he wanted for her was sex. He wanted just none, but that sex was good, and that he wanted nothing but sex from her, and so they were just gonna hang out and have sex all the time and try to get stuff together.
He when she said that whole thing, he was looking like, we didn't. When he came out and talked to Kevin, he said that's not what happened. No, we did not. I don't, but she don't have no reason to lie about you screwing her, bro. Why would I lie about that?
We already, look, and I don't, when I say this, I'm not saying this in a bad way, because it's.
She said, I'm sorry, and she said that he told her, if you tell somebody, I'm going to deny it. That
was when they, after they had their little argument situation. They had their little argument, and then they went to the hotel afterwards.
Right, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't think that would still hold true for this too? If he gonna lie about that, why wouldn't he lie about this?
I think he lie. I mean, I think he would lie about anything. I mean, I think both of them be lying. I think both of them stress the truth.
But the way Michaela, she ain't lying about him getting them draws.
Nah, because she's used to that though, and when I say that, she's used to that because if you look at Michaela when she first came on, she said she had a butt buddy, right? So Michaela's used to just having sex with no emotion, sex with no feeling. Sex was just sex. That's what she was used to, because that's what she did. So, you know, she had a friend that just came over and handled business, and That's what she. So she can do that with Zach and not really be emotionally involved. And so she says that's. But again, in this case, that's her husband.
Mm-hmm.
You know, her husband. She felt some way, and she even talked about. She believed that Zach was checked out since the first little blow up she had,
Mm-hmm.
and that he had never been really invested since the blow up. And I can't knock her for that because she read that and she believed that. And he was checked out. Everybody know he was checked out, but he kept sending mixed messages.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the problem that she wanted to, like, why are you, if you're checked out, be checked out. If you in, be in.
That's the one thing she said. She said, I gave him several outs. I told him, I gave him the liberty to leave a couple times. If you unhappy, then leave. Mm-hmm. But his thing was, he would say, I can't deal with this, but then I want to try.
Mm-hmm. You want that good.
Bro, in the end, I still say, I call bull crap on Zach. Y'all was still screwing. She don't have no reason to lie on. She don't have no reason to do that.
I still think there's some of that stuff that she says, I don't believe all of it's true. I believe that there's bits and pieces that she's not spewing 100%, right?
No. She's
not talking about 100%. I think these two don't need to be together, right? I think they are toxic together. I think Zach had admitted he was checked out, but it should have been stayed checked out. But the sex was good. He kept calling him back, right? And we know that he kept calling him back because they did the little timeline that they only had been broken up for 2 days. He's like, yo, are you gonna sleep? Can we sleep together?
Right. Oh yeah, that was so funny.
We always have fun together, right? So he likes that.
Like they're having a slumber party.
Right, but he doesn't like her. And or some I think he likes her, but the attitude and her behavior really pushes him away, and he can't deal with the behavior. And he keeps going like, "Why every time I get to deal with her, I feel this way about myself. Mm-hmm. Every time I get to deal with her, she makes me feel." So again, it becomes both of them are manipulating and abusing each other. That they don't want to be around each other. She don't want to be around him to talk. He doesn't want to be around her. But yet we can go and be in the sheets with each other and. It doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. For neither one of them, it doesn't make sense. But I think, again, Zach said he's totally done with her. Michaela says she's totally done with him. But Michaela wants her way. And I think that's the issue. And her sister said it. Both of them are stubborn. Right? Both of them want their way and do it their way. And they're not willing to compromise. And the problem in their relationship, they were not willing to compromise. Somebody has to have the unction to say, you know what, I'll back down. Mm-hmm. And neither one of them was able to back down, so they kept bumping heads. Mm-hmm. And they kept bumping heads. And they kept bumping heads. And then what happened is they try to keep score. In their marriage, they wanted to be right all the time. Somebody wanted to be right. Somebody wanted to be. What she said. Somebody wanted to have the leg up or have the score. In marriage, there's sometimes that you are wrong. There's sometimes that you're right. And you ain't got to say anything. Just shut up. Just be quiet and let it ride. And let it be what it is. So they both wanted to acknowledge that I'm right, they're wrong. Zach and Michaela, hey, we're not done with them yet. Mm-mm. And so we'll finish the rest of that when they finish their reunion. That was a hot mess. How I want to protect my energy. Basically, she said why she didn't want him out there, and he was like backstage itching to come out there. They wouldn't let him come. She straight took it. She was like, oh, no, I'm going out there. But, I appreciate Zach because Zach said what I was thinking. Like, nah, dog, you ain't gonna steal my time, right? Because you didn't want me out here with your time, so you're not going to steal my time. Mm-hmm. I'm going to sit out here and I'm going to have a conversation with Kevin, whether me and Kevin bump heads or not, but I'm going to sit out here with Kevin and we're going to have this conversation. I'm going to have my say. I'm going to have my say without you being around. And I like the fact that Kevin kind of challenged Zach a little bit to some of his answers, like, dog, do you see how she's confused? Because you're saying one thing. But I really think, y'all please don't. I really do be thinking that Zach is slow. He's slow. Because even when Kevin explained it sufficiently, he still was like, but I don't understand how that's confusing. Because you telling her one thing and then you're doing something else. You try to set her up for the okie doke, gave her this letter, blah, 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 blah. We trust you. I haven't given nobody else you. My mom, this, that, and the other. And then, I don't want to be married with you, but we can still date. Zach makes my head hurt. I don't want to marry you, but we can still do things that, married people do. I don't want to be married to you, but you can stay with me for 7 to 8 days. But I don't. So again, she fell for the trap and she fell for the okie doke.
Sure did.
So I can't blame him if you keep fishing long enough and throw the bait, you might catch a fish. He caught a Michaela. He kept fishing, dog. Mm-hmm. He kept fishing, and she kept biting.
Yeah.
So we keep saying that he keeps going back for her good. He might have something that she wants.
Probably so. Probably so. Apparently. But yeah, when part 2, we'll continue with Jac and Michaela when they finish there, cause they split their whole thing up, cause it wasn't over. It's still some more.
By
it's not
far,
over.
It's not over. It's more to the story.
The bombshell of the night. But I'm still disgusted and flabbergasted and whatever other word, shocked
not at all.
And appalled. You what?
Not shocked.
What? Bro, I'm shocked.
We've been saying it all year.
I'm shocked. No, but you know the part that I said I'm shocked about. And you can't tell me you wasn't shocked about that. But anyway, Mirla and Gil. Mm-hmm. Mirla and Gil. Gil come out. He done let his beard come in. We see some of that gray popping. Gil looks good. Okay.
I blame production. I'm gonna tell you why I blame production.
Blame production on what?
They let that man sit out there all that whole time with his collar up on his suit.
Oh wait, we laughed at that.
They let him sit out there.
My husband was like, "Oh, why he got his collar up on his suit?" I said, "Well, I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he did that on purpose." But when he came to the scene with the guys, I told my husband, I said, "Bro, I'm mad. They filmed him all that time. Nobody took a pause in between to tell him, yo, your collar is sticking up.
Let me fix your collar.
Or you fix it."
I'm mad. Look, they knew. Let that brother sit out there like that. That's not right.
Fix his jacket.
Somebody on production, the assistant production person, the cameraman, somebody should lose their job.
Let him fix his collar. That was so wrong. That's like letting him sit up there with food or something in his beard. You would, come on.
Nah.
I was like, dang, you messing it up. But yeah, Gil came out there with that grown man beard with the little gray in it. He was looking nice in his suit. Kevin talked about them red bottom shoes. It was like, oh, I think Mirla's rubbing off on you. And the thing about it is, nobody never said that Gil didn't have style or have some name brand couture stuff, okay? He just was like, that's not my focus. So I'm not surprised he came out there with that. You know what I'm saying? He brought it.
He just ain't paying full price for it, though.
He might pay full price for it, but I'm not going to do that every other week or every month. I'm just not going to do that.
I might have 1 or 2 pair of red bottom shoes in his closet. That's what he said.
Right. But yeah, so Kevin was like, did Mirla convert you? And, they kind of laughed at that. He said something about her boots. I'm sorry. I got to say this. To me, Mirla, obviously she dressed herself. She looked, them boots, too much. I mean, y'all, this is my opinion. Them boots was too much. With the dress, like, I was not impressed. I was not impressed with the way she looked. I just wasn't.
Nah, I mean, that was her style, though. I mean, I can't knock it. I can knock it, but it's what it is. Road warrior boots. But
yeah, so Kevin was like, how you feeling? She was like, oh, I feel fabulous. And he was like, I'm alright. And it was like he talked to them about did the process go like you thought it was, and both of them kind of say, I wasn't sure how, I hadn't envisioned how the process would be. I couldn't tell you. The one thing Gil said, he just knew that he figured it was going to be a slow process, but it turned out to be even slower than he thought it would be. They talked about how he used to always mess with her and joke on her. Did that bother her? And she said she was bothered by him ribbing her and poking her. And
she should have said something.
Right, and because Gil was like, this is the first time I'm hearing this. Yeah. That you felt like that about it.
She should have said something. I think She should have said something. If something bothering you in a relationship, your spouse is joking too much, your man is just playing too much, say something. How do they know they're being too sarcastic, right? We know people that have just sarcastic all the time. If you're being too sarcastic in a relationship and it doesn't work for you, communicate. Open your mouth and say, "Hey, this is not working."
Mm-hmm. She said her way of telling him that she didn't like it was by saying, well, no, it's not, by disputing what he said. Like when he called her Brad or when he said she was high maintenance, I would say, no, I'm not. That's your opinion, whatever. They showed a clip to try to support how Gil went out of his way to try to do things and how she was more like a Debbie Downer. Like he couldn't do anything right in her eyes. So they showed the clip that we hadn't seen where he gave her a massage. Yeah. That was a surprise he had for her at the honeymoon. He gave her a massage and she was like, it was weird. It wasn't a bonding moment. It was uncomfortable. You know, she just didn't like it. And I was like, he trying to do something nice, like, oh.
But remember, she was uncomfortable. She didn't want a stranger's hands all over her. Either.
Oh, she said it was hot.
Right. She already complained about the resort because it wasn't what she expected the honeymoon to be. She didn't like the wedding already. We found that out. She complained about everything. That's why, again, I am not surprised. Well, anyway, why it is what it is.
Yeah, she said, oh, and the other thing she said, I had already said I wanted to take it slow when it came to physical, and that physical also applied to, I guess, getting a massage. But, you know, they talked about, you know, how Gil worked his butt off, basically to get in her good graces. He worked his butt off to try to make it work. And Kevin was like, you know, was it worth it? And Gil just kind of shrugged, you know. Her boot choice was straight out of Pretty Woman. Yep. Yeah. So the question was, okay, so I heard since D-Day, you know, y'all moved in together or whatever, and again, so Kevin just goes for it. Since decision day, are y'all still together? And Gil said, unfortunately, we have not been together since decision day, and mind blown. My mind was blown. What he said after that is what just knocked me out, because he said 14 days after decision day, Mila decided she didn't want to be with him. 14 days after decision day, she said she didn't want to be with him. She went through this whole thing about how she wasn't really attracted to him.
She made you look. She played you. I mean, she made look at this. This is what she did. We talk about Ryan and Claire lying. Mila, I think this is a defense mechanism. I think she really was into Gil. I mean, she's not that good of an actress.
No.
All right? She's not that good of an actress.
And she wasn't drunk every time.
Yeah, she wasn't drunk every time.
When she talked about it.
So I really think she was into Gil. I think those 14 days that she actually lived with him, without production, without cameras, without all this other stuff, she realized, you know what? I can't do this. I can't do what this is. And he does not turn the needle for me. So it wasn't the money issue per se. It was the emotional connection that she kind of had with that she didn't have that made her say, I don't want to do this. After 14 days, that means those kind of those feelings were there before. We're missing something, right? Because 14 days in, you're still kind of honeymooning a little bit. I mean, I know everybody felt bad for Gil because he sold all his stuff. He said all he had left was a blender, hype, and something else. But they moved in together. He's a nice guy, I mean, all that. But he wasn't for her.
I understand that. But you knew that before decision day. This is the thing. This is what Kevin said, what happened? She said it's no easy answer. She was like, it was just their differences got to her. And some of the non-negotiables that she had when it came to a man, that she wanted a man who was financially stable. You know, these were some things that she just didn't see. And Gil was like, look, this is the thing about it. He said, I actually made $100 more than her every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Kevin brought up the fact that he's a firefighter. He's got an amazing pension. He said, I've got an amazing pension. And she said for her, it's not about not enough money. This is what she says. It was the initial attraction and chemistry was not there. This is the bull crap. The initial attraction and chemistry wasn't there from the beginning. And she basically said it like I still never had it all the way through. Honey, look, she ain't that good of an actress.
She was.
And for what? Either you're acting now, Mirla, or you were acting then. And she just don't come across as that good of an actress to me.
Yeah.
And for what? For what? If you and her whole thing was she didn't want to have sex with somebody unless she was emotionally connected, attracted, and all of that. She had sex with him before decision day. Why is you doing that? You lying.
She contradicted herself.
You lying.
Because she contradicted herself because you said you don't just give it up to anybody.
Hello.
That you just don't. It take you a long time to kiss.
Hello.
So if you gave it up to him, you kissed him. Y'all having sex multiple times.
You was attracted to him.
You was attracted to him, and you was in love with him. So so guess what?
She wasn't in love with him because she stressed that too. She said, "I never said I was in love with him."
So she just gave it up to her husband, which is nothing wrong with that because that's your husband.
No. Not that. No, she just said I never said I was in love with him, meaning I never actually said those words. But yeah, I'm like.
She was in strong like.
She said it wasn't even that though.
It was that.
She said I realized I wasn't happy. It grew some, but she needed more. And she didn't think it was fair to her or him that it wasn't a fire there and not to force it. She said he's amazing guy, but we're just not for each other. And I'm just like, Mirla, look, bro, you lying. Either you lying now or you was lying then.
She was infatuated with Gil. She liked Gil. She was involved with Gil. She spent time with him. When she talked to Dr. Pepper, said, this is the best thing. My husband, I like him. Y'all matched him up great. We have good times. It was the money thing. She just had, what happened was, I think this is what transpired, right? 14 days with Gil at the house. Remember, he's a firefighter, right? So even in the apartment, when he was gone for 2 or 3 days, she might have had some interaction with the other couples. So now, don't know where they lived at. She probably felt lonely with Gil being a firefighter and not being home all the time and dealing with. She probably felt like, you know what, I can't deal with this, him not being here with me all the time, because she said she enjoyed his company. She enjoyed waking up. This is on decision day. She said she enjoyed. She
sure did.
She enjoyed waking up, looking at him in his face, and seeing him.
That's what I'm saying. Either you lied now or you was lying then. And again, she's not that good of an actress. But again, for what? Just be straight up. If you're not attracted to him, you're not attracted to him. And yeah, y'all right. She did. She said, I chose to love my husband. But she tried to say it like, I never said I love him.
Yeah.
That's what she said. Because she did say that. She said, I've chosen to. But the thing that Kevin said, is this the first time you're hearing this, Gil? Gil said, this is only my second time hearing this. The first time was the day she decided not to be with him.
Yeah.
She snatched the rug from under my dude. And I'm going to jump ahead to the point where he's so hurt, he's in therapy. He's in therapy for it.
Because, I'm going to tell you.
Oh my gosh.
This is from a man's perspective, right? From a man's perspective, he is in therapy because he had put all into this. He was blindsided, right?
That's what he said.
He was blindsided. The wool was thrown over his eyes, and guess what? He was invested. When he gave away his all, right? Everything he had. He told her. Remember, he told her that episode, my lease is up. Mm-hmm. When my lease is up in a couple of weeks, what we're gonna do? So I know they had conversations about this because he left and went straight to her apartment, or where they went and got a place together, right? So he was invested. He had put everything into it. He put all his heart into it, all his money into it. He was willing to make this thing work, and he was there for the long haul because he wanted to have this relationship. He wanted to have this marriage, and he wanted it to be there forever. And guess what? When she come home, or when he come home, he realized, guess what? I'm not going to be with you. It's like giving him a Dear John letter, right? And you telling him, when she said she leaving, he like, nah, I'll leave. Don't worry about it. You keep the place. I'll go. Even in the fact of him leaving, he left like a gentleman, you know? So she broke his heart. He's devastated.
Yeah, he said the thing about it is, everything about their relationship was based on communication. Yeah. And you never communicated that. And here you come after, he said too, we talked extensively. We talked about decision day before we got to decision day, and she never said, that was your opportunity to say, you know what, I never really liked you that much for real. I just played along because I needed the check, or I liked the check, or I didn't want to come off as the B that basically people called you from the beginning.
Well, that's how she came out. Because he's in therapy, right? He's going through all this emotional distress, and she said
they're just a smug.
She said, I'm okay. Well, she lying. I'm gonna tell you why she's lying, right? That's her defense mechanism. She's not okay. She was invested in this. She had built up a wall to say, you know what? She had gotten to the point where I can just learn. She learned how to move on without finishing or fixing anything. She learned how to move. Because if you look at her face, she really was kind of upset that. You know what?
I don't know how to take her face no more because
even body language, she still was sitting close to Gil. She still they weren't sitting far apart. They were still sitting close. She was still being cordial. He still had his arm over here at certain parts of the time. So she doesn't dislike him, but she just doesn't want to be with him. So you can't be invested in somebody for 8 weeks, sleep with somebody, interact with that person, put your money together, and be in the house and not be some type of connection. I ain't say money together, but not be some type of connection, have some type of connection to him. And she said, I still like him. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just not for me. So she has a sense of connection with Gil. It's just not marriage in her eyes.
Man, it sucked. He said for him it came out of nowhere. You know, she told him, I'm not attracted and I'm not happy. And he said, being a hopeless romantic that he is, he thought, you know, it would turn around. And so he decided to stay with her. You know, and for the time being, about a month, you know, until she decided she wanted to move out. And that's when he said, like you said, he decided, you know, guess what? No, never mind. After 2-3 days, you're not going nowhere. Let me just move my stuff. Right. You know, and mind you, again, like he said he has sold everything. He sold all his stuff. All he had was his blender, his clothes, and hype. She set him up for the okie doke.
Well, plus he's a firefighter. He can stay in a firehouse. I'm just saying.
He can, but still, that don't mean I want to. You know what I'm saying?
But Gil learned a lesson that a lot of people learn in relationships and in marriage. You can't make a person love you that don't want to love you. If they don't want to love you, you can't make them love you. And she proved that she didn't want to love him. She had the thought of being with him. She was telling, we might do a video, she was giving him signals all down the line that this wasn't going to work.
But
she kept giving him signals.
But the whole thing is, like he said, and we've said this not with every couple, you can't give no signals. You're going to have to tell it. You're going to have to say it. And that was so not fair because she really did. She didn't have to line her vignette. She didn't. She would say, oh, he's so great. I really like my husband. I'm crushing on my husband. You know, it was that odd. I'm like.
She did what Johnny did. And I'm going to say it this way. She wanted to see what it was like. Anytime she split up 14 days, she wanted to see what it was like without the cameras. Her yes was a conditional yes. Now, she didn't say that, but if you look at her decision day, her I don't want to call it confessional, her decision day speech, I thought she was gonna say no by just listening to her speech. I mean, go back and listen to it and what she was saying. Like, we're different, we're not compatible, we this, that, and the other. I've always said this. Y'all hear me say it all the time. I want them to take them in separate rooms and let them do their decision day, write it down, and then flip the card. I think she might have said yes because he was saying yes, and because they had discussed about saying yes, and she wanted to see how it would work out. She might have took the advice of her friends, not making an excuse for her behavior because she treated Gil wrong.
She did.
It wasn't acceptable. It wasn't right. You shouldn't treat anybody like that. And you should share, if y'all are together and have communication, she should have told him from the get-go, I'm doing this, I'm saying yes, just to see if it works without the production. If it works without the camera.
And the other part that made me mad was, he's talking about the situation and what happened. And she was like, when he said, I moved out 2 or 3 days later, she says, I'm not going to even acknowledge that because it's like, and then she just shakes her head. She's not going to acknowledge it. He was like, well, didn't you tell me that? And her thing was, no, I'm not going back and forth with you. Guess what? This is the place where we going back and forth. We're not doing tit for tat, but you need to, in this space, you need to explain yourself, Lucy. Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Because I'm going to just say, a lot of us fans that was watching, we had our eggs in the Miller and Gil basket. And you dropped the basket. And in the end, he was like, I think it was because, I didn't have enough money for her. And she was like, you projecting your insecurities on me. Well, what else was it then? Or just say what it is. In the end, you were attracted to him. You really were. Mm-hmm. You liked him. You just couldn't get over him poking you and calling you a brat and calling you La Princesa. And that's what you couldn't get over. And you couldn't get over the fact that he wasn't at a place in life where you expected your man to be. That's what it was. Just say that. But don't say it was never any attraction. I feel like she probably really never got over the fact that he had a bald head. She said she did, but she didn't. And I'm just like, I feel so bad for Gil because Gil, I believe it. Gil so even keeled and just a kind person. This what he said. He said, I've talked to girls before. Mm-hmm. They not feeling me. It is what it is. We move on from there. He said, but in this, he said, I really wanted to be married. I really wanted to be with somebody, and I thought that's what we had. And then for her to, I took it hard because for her to then do that to me, I was all in. I was invested, and he was like, man, like, I'm broken. And she sat there like she didn't give a rat's tail. That pissed me off bad.
She's a Black Widow.
Don't take my word. I called her that.
Nah, you did call her that, but nah, she did suck a little bit of life. She sucked the life out of him. And I think that's where you can say that something happened. We're missing something, right? I'm sorry. Gil's story is fine. Miller's story is fine. We're missing something that happened in those 14 days. Mm-hmm. We're missing something that we may not have seen or may not have heard to make this thing go this way.
That's what I'm saying. She's not that good of an actress.
There's something that transpired. Whether it was somebody, she started hanging out more with Johnny, Rachel, and Jose. Whether she started hanging out more with Johnny, there's rumors about that. Something happened in that mix or in that circle to make this thing go left. And I think, I don't know what it is. What do you guys think?
She even had the nerve to say.
What do y'all think made it go left?
Yeah, she even had the nerve to say, I did what I felt was best for him.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was helping him, for him to be around her.
But again,
when she wasn't fit, he didn't look happy.
But let's break that down real quick, because what she's saying is, you don't like all this stuff about me, and you're saying all these things about me, so I'm gonna do you a favor, and I'm gonna bounce.
You could have did that at decision.
That's what she's saying, though. He's not happy.
You could have done that.
You're joking on me about me being...
Again, you could have done that. I get it. His thing is, we could have did this at decision
Yes.
day, and then I wouldn't be as hurt up as I am now.
Don't waste my time.
Yes.
I mean, I understand what he's saying, and I'm not making excuses for her. All. She's totally wrong. He was like, "Don't waste my time," and so she should have spoke her piece then. I'm not going back and forth. We need you to go back and forth because we need you to open up and share with us as the fans. Like, what happened? Why all of a sudden you never loved him, but yet you would bake cookies for him, you would hang out. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that's there that was a disconnect for them, and only her and Gil know. You know, somebody else will let us know.
And the sad part is Kevin asked Gil, you know, are you still in love with her? And he said, absolutely. And Kevin was like, wow, really? And, you know, he said, if I said no, I'd be lying. He said, if I said no, I'd be lying. And Kevin said, if Mira said today that she wanted to get back together, would you? And he was like, you know, my heart says yes. And my brain says yes as well, but proceed with caution.
But you know what I think they should do? And I think we said this a couple of seasons ago. They should do 8 weeks, right? We might have said this when we was on the panel. Do 8 weeks. Leave them alone for 2. And then have a decision day. Let the 8 weeks with the cameras and all that, blah, 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 blah. That's fine. Don't have any cameras for about 2 weeks, week and a half, 2 weeks. And then let them make a decision after that. And see how they manage and see how they do. Without all the production, because when they got call times, they got set times, they got this time they gotta take time off. So their life is surrounded around this production. Jose said it a little bit too, that you know he had to get back into the normal things. So let them do it without production, and then give them a decision.
Mm-hmm. Gil says, you know, at the end of the day, he wants someone that wants to be with him. And Miller said flat out, I don't want to be married to him. He deserves someone who does. And he says ever since then, it's been tough for him. You know, he thought it was good until it wasn't.
Yeah.
And his thing was, can I fix it? What can I do? Can I do this or that? And, you know, no, he found out it was nothing I could do. She was like, it's a wrap, done with it, can't fool with it.
When a woman's fed up and her mind is made up, there's nothing as a man that you can do. When her mind is made up, I'm not going to deal with you, I'm not going to do, there's nothing you can do. She already knew, I'm leaving this dude.
Bro, I was so irritated. She just sat there so smug. Even, you know, Kevin again was like, how you doing? She said, I've been okay. Because Gil said he's not been well since the breakup.
Yeah.
You know, he took it very hard. She said she's been doing okay since the breakup. Life goes on. And she's not dating again right now. And she will at some point, but not at the moment.
And again, that's my point too. She's heartbroken. That's why she's not dating right now. She's not trying to rush into another relationship. If she wasn't heartbroken, she'll be able to rush into another relationship with somebody else. She's not ready for that relationship, and that's why she wants to take the time to get herself together. I don't think they'll end up back together. I don't think they will revisit each other. But I do think Gil will fall into a good spot.
Like Kevin said, you want somebody that wants you. Kevin was like, bro, I promise you, it's a line of people. It's a line of women. It's probably some men in the line too. You ain't gonna have no, you know what I'm saying? He said later too, I'm sure your DMs gonna be blowing up once once this pops off. When they find out you're not together, your DMs gonna be blowing up. You know,
But
I'm just like, you wasted his time. You gave him hope when there was no hope. Like,
I give you this. We never seen her. She was never confrontational anyway. Think about it. All the time.
But she don't have to be confrontational.
But so this goes back to her point on the show. I'm not saying anything. She never said anything much when Gil jabbed her. She just laughed it off. All of the other stuff. So when it got to this point where and maybe she's doing it for her image on TV, and she doesn't want to come off a certain type of way. But I'm sure when those cameras went off and he jabbed her, she probably jabbed back. When he said something, she probably said something back. Again, I don't know. Would like to find out. Something like I said, something transpired, and so when she got back on TV, I'm not going back and forth with you. I'm not going back and forth with you. Because, again, the image she needs to portray. Remember, she has a consulting job, right? Nobody's going to let somebody who has drama and all this come in and be their consultant for whatever I think she does schools and stuff. So she has to maintain her image. So she's not going to go off to mess anything up, to jeopardize her money-making power. I mean, and it just...
But don't nobody want to come across as no ice queen either.
No, nobody likes an ice queen. Nobody likes a brat. Nobody likes anybody snobby. Nobody likes that.
Because she's still really coming off snobby.
She coming off like her stuff don't stink.
I'm better than you. It's nothing wrong with you can be a consultant and you can make a lot of money and be with a firefighter. That's the whole point of this Married at First Sight, to again have you looking in places where you wouldn't look. They matched you up.
But she keeps saying it's not about the money.
No, it's not. It's not about the actual paper money and bank account money, but it is about the money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is about the money.
Maybe about the status and the circles you want to be in.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
But she comes from humble beginnings. Look, let us know what you think about Gil and Merla. You're already doing it in the chat.
That's how I feel. Boo.
Did you feel the same way, Jack?
Boo your tail, boo.
Did you feel the same way Jackie felt when you watched Merla just stonewall Gil? She gave him a stunner. She
RKO'd him out of nowhere.
She gave him an RKO out of nowhere for all my wrestling fans out there.
RKO out of nowhere. I was just disgusted, and she just, I'm like, defend yourself. you not gonna never come on. She bet. Who else did that? Matt came on a reunion and didn't feel like he needed to. Why you coming to the reunion then? You know when things go down bad. Yeah, you know how when things go down bad, people gonna have questions. You gotta answer.
He did.
This is not a space where you cannot answer.
He didn't want to get fined.
I'm so mad.
Oh man, look, the men get together, man. Let's talk about the men for a minute. All right. All the men get together. I want to talk about this real quick. I want to talk about the bromance, right? Johnny and Jose, all the men get together. Kevin start asking them questions, and it comes up about the bromance. Johnny just said, I fell in love with Jose. I saw him just like he's the guy that you want to be around. We all have as men, we all have real close friends that we confide in, that we talk to, that we enjoy, that we bounce things off. There's nothing wrong with having a bromance. I have one. As my wife would say, I got a buddy of mine, we talk every morning. for a while. But there's nothing wrong with bromance. But they asked, all the guys got together and they said they're real close. Mm-hmm. They said there's no beef between them. There's no riffs, there's no tiffs, there's no anything. And I'm thinking like, wow, that's good, right? But in the back of my mind, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, Johnny, you don't mind that Zach, and maybe at this point Zach and Bow,
he don't care.
Maybe at this point Zach and Bow wasn't hooking it up.
But why would he care? He didn't want her. He don't like her. Why would he care if the rumor is true that Zach and Bow are messing with each other? Why would Johnny care? He don't care. The other thing I want to talk about when the guys got together is Kevin was like, were y'all surprised about what happened that Miller and Gil broke up? And pretty much they all were like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we was rooting for y'all. Zach said we were rooting for y'all. Like, wow. Ryan said they looked like, they was pretty good the whole time. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm like, still, you ain't that good of an actress, chick. You are not that good. Even Johnny, who she's supposed to be friends with, even Johnny said.
Yeah, he was surprised.
He was surprised. You are not that good of an actress.
Because she was invested in him. Again, we said it and we've been saying it all. Like, something happened. Johnny knew they was invested because Johnny Miller and Rachel and Jose are real tight, right? To the point where they even had a running joke that when Jose broke up with Rachel, or they had that separation, that Mirla was around all the time, and that it's like Mirla was
she
like
liked single Rachel.
She likes single Rachel more than married Rachel. So again, there is an issue there. She likes the friendship, so she wants something that's going on. And so she knew that she had a relationship with Gil. She know that that relationship was tight. It was solid. If it wasn't tight, it wasn't solid, and you knew that you wanted to get rid of him. Again, to my point, why move in with him for 14 days? Why put your name on a lease with him? Why have an apartment with him? Why do anything? You could have easily said, you know what, Gil, don't worry about it. You get your own spot, I'm going to get mine. We're just going to do this for TV. We're going to ride it out and get these checks so while we stay married as long as we can. And so the longer we stay married, we'll get an extra check. Y'all don't realize the longer they stay married, they get a little bit extra bread.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they get a little extra bread in the contract. So she could have said, you know what, let's pretend we're still married and keep it moving. She was invested.
Well, let him in on it.
Let him in on it. She was invested in it. She was invested in that dude. You know, they asked the guys could they handle Mirla's attitude and the way that she was a Debbie Downer and how she would always downplay things. And Zach was funny to me. Zach said, "I wish my relationship. That's all I had to deal with in my relationship."
Right.
He said,
Johnny said it too.
Johnny said the same thing. If all I had to do was deal with that, I was good. I had to deal with a whole bunch of other stuff in my relationship, and if all I had to do with her saying no, and Gil said he was cool with it. He just it was petty, you know what I'm saying? It was a petty problem, but he could deal with the situation with Mirla, because it was just something that it is what it is, and he could handle it, and he just has patience.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
God knows his patience was tested.
It was tested, but again, he was willing to work on. He said, "I'm willing to work on his marriage." There was times that he wanted to run.
Mm-hmm. He did acknowledge that.
He acknowledged that. He said there was times I wanted to leave. There were times I wanted to run, but I didn't run because I had committed to the process. If you read the blogs and all the rumors, Mirla and Gil was the only ones that actually spent all the days.
Well, and Kevin said that too. Yeah.
At the apartment.
Everybody else at one point left.
Uh-huh.
To get their space or because they was mad, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually stayed there. And she stayed there. That's why I'm like, oh, she's so full of crap.
Hey, he tried. She tried. Did she try?
No.
I think she tried.
No. Nope.
I think she tried.
No.
She tried. If you don't give anything else, she tried with hype.
I think that was fake too. With the dog thing, I'm telling you, either she was faking that she didn't like dogs that much, or she just played to get along, that she had come along and hype had won her over. That's fake too.
So everything about her was fake.
No, it was.
She liked Gil. Was that fake?
No, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to tell me that's fake that you telling me that you wasn't attracted to that man.
She was.
And
she was.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it is what it is. She was attracted to that guy. Look, I think with them and with all the other guys, everybody knows everybody's business anyway. It will eventually come out what actually happened between them. I think I'm interested to see how Zach and Michaela finish up from next week.
Yeah.
I want to see.
And then when everything goes down with Bow and Johnny.
Everything that goes down with Bow and Johnny. We know Brett and Ryan never get back together. Jose and Rachel will be Jose and Rachel. She wants it her way, and Jose's going to conform because Jose don't want to be married. Jose wants to be married. So it's a lot going on with these couples. Even after, I'm really excited to see where are they now.
Yeah.
Just to see what's going on with the couples. See if anybody's invested, anybody in a different relationship. If the rumors are true about Zach and Bow, the rumors are true about Johnny and Mirla, which they say they're real close. Johnny just says they're real close friends. That they're real close friends. We'll see how that shapes out next week. But let us know what you think about Mirla and Gil. Were you disappointed? Did it drop your heart? If you see Mirla in the street,
I am over it.
If you see Mirla in the street, are you gonna square up, or are you one of those ladies that drop it into Gil's DMs right about now? Let us know. Did you hit him up? Did you say, you know what, Gil, come to my city?
Transparent moment.
Yeah, whatever you.
If I wasn't married,
go ahead.
I would drop in Gil's DMs, but not to try to talk to her. I'll be like, she did you wrong. She did you wrong. She did you wrong.
Go ahead, start dropping the DMs.
I liked Gil. A lot of people didn't like him. I found out, you know, when you look on some of the Instagram posts and stuff from Married at First Sight stuff, I was like, gosh, why? But I think they didn't like him more so because he always would, you know, jab or whatever. I'm rolling with the punches. I'd be like, so that's why such and such and such about you. That's why. Oh, we going back and forth there, bro. You got a problem with me, I got a problem with you. You know what I'm saying? But anyway.
Oh, so you dropping the DMs now?
I'd say if I wasn't married, I would, but I wouldn't. I'm not gonna expose my insecurities. I would definitely send him a DM and say something to him, but I wouldn't come at him like, because I feel like Gil would be interested in me.
You know, you speak Spanish.
No, that's not even it though.
You're
Not
right.
that.
You're beautiful.
So anyway, I wouldn't be trying to hit on him in his DMs because I feel like that would be a waste of time.
Oh man, hey, we enjoy having fun with you guys tonight. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification, and make sure you don't drop in my DMs. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Don't do that.
No, I'm just joking. No.
Don't do that.
Oh man,
you want to see a different side of me? Please drop in my husband's DMs.
You see. But nah, hey, we can't wait for part 2 of the reunion. I really can't wait for part 2 of the reunion. Once again, the whole Michaela and Zach situation. Question for you guys, and probably the question of the week: is Zach and Michaela worse than Chris and Paige? Is Zach and Michaela worse than Chris and Paige?
I don't even know if I would compare them to that. I would put them more along Zach and Mindy.
There's some between both of them. There's some similarities between all those couples, and I think somebody said it earlier. Married at First Sight producers and the experts, I think they starting to put couples together so we can have these moments.
Yeah, I think it's about time to shut it down.
I don't think it's right that you treat people's feelings and emotions that way. So
shut it down.
No, don't shut it down.
Shut it down.
They shut it down. What else we can talk about?
We'll find something else to talk about.
Hey, once again,
revamp it or something because it's not working.
Speaking of that, make sure you check out our Ready to Love reviews. Make sure you check out our Married at First Sight reviews from the past. If you miss anyone, make sure you check out our Matrimony Thoughts podcast as well. Make sure if you're watching this video, make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button. Make sure you share with somebody else. And we thank you for joining us on this week. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you down the road.
Bye.